clicked away for a second. Now it's gone. I don't know why, but I'm gonna have to retype it here.
Yeah, no worries. Classic. It's happened to me before. Um, but yeah, okay. Well, yeah, maybe let's get started and move in with some of this stuff. Um, all right. So, I guess I want to start out with the second astronaut updates. So, um, still no word from any of the backup astronauts. Um, yeah, we've made an announcement with Bounty to basically incentivize maybe other people that know those Discord names if they can notify them or something. It's kind of like a kind of desperate attempt to reach out to some of them, but yeah, mostly I just feel bad, if they were selected as a backup and that they're not like saying that hey they might have potentially won a seat on a Blue Origin rocket. Um, but it could be the case that a lot of the people there are bots or something like that. We definitely saw a good amount of bot activity with the NFTs. So um, but yeah, so if within the next week we don't hear back, we'll move forward with the reselection process. I've been putting together a doc about how that reselection process will work. Um, yeah, I was hoping to have the doc finished and so we could review it in this meeting, but yeah, there are a good amount of things to consider. So um, yeah, I'll probably make that doc available by tomorrow. Um, but yeah, the basic gist of it, I think will look like we'll reselect from the Ticket to Space NFTs, but we'll have to do another like registering process. So people getting the NFTs and then registering them to make sure that one person isn't like hoarding a bunch of the NFTs and then using that to get basically an unfair advantage. Um, yeah. Well, I've also been reaching back out to um, the lawyers that helped us set up the sweepstakes to get their input on this as well. Um, just yeah, haven't heard anything from them yet. Um, but yeah, this update is mostly just to say that we haven't heard back from any of those astronauts yet. So we'll need to start thinking of and putting together a plan to reselect an astronaut. But on the positive side, it's quite an opportunity for sure, and I think that as we put together this plan for how we're going to reselect the next astronaut, um, yeah, we should also um, make people aware that hey, there's this opportunity to be selected on a Blue Origin rocket again, which I think will yeah bring a lot of attention and revitalize. Yeah, I think people generally, if given the opportunity to go on to go to space, that's pretty huge. Last time we did it, it was a massive event. So um, yeah, it's also a huge opportunity. Yeah. Any questions or thoughts about that? Like I said, I'll be making a doc available in the next couple of days, so we can kind of drill into each of the aspects of this because there's definitely going to be a lot of considerations with the reselection process. So yeah. Any questions? All right. Well, yeah. If there are no thoughts on that, then we can move over to the next item in the agenda. Um, unless if I'm can you guys can hear me all right, right? Just making sure. I see Mitchie's video is like loading for me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I was giving a thumbs up. I guess
Oh,
if you
okay.
can't see me, it's not. It doesn't mean anything.
All right, yeah, I can see now. All right, great. Cool. So the next thing on the agenda is basically quarter two incentives updates. So that will be closing up at the end of the day today, or like at around midnight today. Yeah, funny enough, I got locked out of that vote, so my Gitcoin passport was reset. Uh, Very frustrating. But I feel like the Gitcoin team should do something with snapshots so that people can reset their stamps while a vote is active, because that I think that's been a major point of frustration for a lot of people in the community, where they feel like, oh, they're they can't vote on important things. So yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that, yeah, hey guys, GM. First of all, the problem is that you can, get stamps with the same socials in multiple wallets. So you could vote with one wallet and then, get the stamp on another one and vote again and again and again. Gitcoin decreases the amount of points that you get for each new authentication, but yeah, the way that Snapshot reads it is if you have or don't have that stamp, it doesn't really matter, the amount of points that you're getting. So yeah, it's a tough one. We can, I run some tests. We can programmatically, do it in a way that we have a specific amount of points that people need to achieve, and then if they achieve, it doesn't matter if they are doing the getting the stamps beforehand or during the vote. But yeah, it's more risky, to Sybil attacks. But yeah, I know it's pretty frustrating. I mean, it sucks. I have basically 3 alarms on my cell phone to renew my passports every 3 months. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, that's news to me. I didn't know that Snapshot supported just having a score every time that. I guess that must be new. Is that new?
No, they don't support it natively, but you can program it into a custom, strategy.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe we can talk to the Snapshot team, or yeah, if you know how to do that, yeah, we can work to do something like that. I think that'd be really helpful. Um, yeah, but what you were saying before with allowing people to add their stamps while the vote is active. I mean, people could do that before the vote too. So, um, yeah, I don't think it's that big of a risk. Um, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, maybe yeah, Lucas, if we can do it that way and people can add their votes after something is already live on Snapshot, let's definitely do it. That's awesome.
Yeah, let's work to that. It's tricky, but it's doable.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we have everyone's coordinate distributions in except Gitcoin.
No, we have Gitcoin now.
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Okay, then I think we have all of the information to do the final calculations once the vote is live. So that's good.
Yeah, I'll plug it all in the sheet tonight, and then yeah, we have all the pieces in place, and then like
Great. Yeah. And then yeah, we can. So the plan is once we get the final numbers put together, we'll crunch the numbers, and then I think we said on Friday we'll like if everything is okay, we'll leave some time for people to review the spreadsheet, make sure all of the numbers make sense, make sure there are no mistakes in how it's calculated, and then we can set up all of the transactions. Um, yeah, so everything's running on time mostly, except for the hiccup with Gitcoin passports for those of us that got locked out. Um, yeah, I guess this is a good segue into the vMOONEY vesting proposal. So that's that's up for vote right now in the Senate. It's something that we've discussed for a while. It was going to be, I mean, it is a no MVP project, so yeah, it didn't require a Senate vote, but however, since this does change the project's V5 system, we thought it'd be good to put this up for, you know, an official vote with those two changes. So I believe that we have the 3 signatures on that. So yeah, we should be able to get this up for voting now. Looks like we have 7 Senate members here, so we should be able to get it in for vote.
Who was the third signature? I signed. I thought we only had 2.
Oh, I thought we had all of them.
No, I made a call just a little over an hour ago for people to sign it before this meeting if possible.
Oh, no.
But I didn't hear a response from
So
anyone.
I think yeah, Colin, Lucas, and myself are on the proposals. So yeah, I guess who were we missing?
I mean, it could be Manuel or Luffy, Pollock, Broad.
Got it. Well, I guess Manuel, Luffy, if you guys can go through the proposal real quick, that'd be helpful. Are you guys there with us?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm going through the proposal. But yeah, it's important to keep in mind that there's also yeah, it also changes projects, the project system, but it's not so huge of a difference. It yeah, it just creates yeah, it changes the vMOONEY, but then it also changes the project report. So yeah,
We are talking about the vMOONEY, right?
yeah, vMOONEY.
Thing, right?
Mhm.
Proposal.
Yep.
So I thought I have reviewed and gave the signature for that.
Oh, maybe it was you, Luffy, who had already signed it. You signed it. I signed it. Yeah, we need one more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, are we good to go then? Did it get the signatures? I'm looking at the doc right now. It's like oh, I didn't see Lucas. Lucas, you added some comments to it yesterday. I just saw these.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't even remember what I commented, but yeah. Yeah, I think I just added the budget just in case we can't, do this on Polygon. Just yeah, saying how much in gas fees it will be. That's basically the most of my comments.
But 0.3 ETH seems. I mean, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it will be a lot of Gnosis multi-sig, so yeah, it could be quite a bit in gas.
Yeah. Yeah, I calculated the Gnosis multi-sigs and also the vesting. The interaction with the vMOONEY contract. That is a little bit more expensive coming from a multi-sig than just a simple wallet. But yeah, it's something around 27 transactions.
Cool. Well, Manuel or yeah, I guess Manuel, what could you sign this? Are you
I went through it, so I will sign it. I think it's okay. Yeah, but a lot of work to get done. But I think you know this. Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking, I mean, the reason why we do this is that contributors do not sell Mooney, right?
Sorry, why we're doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're switching over. Well, yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a while. It's in the problem statement, but yeah, I mean, basically, a recurring point of contention between the broader MoonDAO community and contributors is that contributors sell Mooney they receive from the retroactive rewards, and this creates a downhill spiral of the community feeling like contributors are enemy DAO. And so, this is in response to sort of that issue. And I think generally, it's just yeah, it's kind of wild that we were doing this without any vesting before. So I think it's fair. Yeah, okay. All right, so we've got the signatures on it, so we can put this up for vote. I'm just gonna create the vote right now so that we can record it. Okay. It's up for vote, so yeah, if people can record their votes in, and then I'll close it up once we have everyone. Wish we had like a little like well, we don't have emojis here, but it'd be great if there was like a thumbs up here or something so that we knew when people have submitted their votes. I got mine in. Remember, if you click it twice, it'll undo your vote.
Why don't we just put another thing underneath the vote where people can give a thumbs up on it?
Oh, that's interesting. I think you can. Yeah, you can react. Oh no, you can't.
No, you can't.
Yeah, interesting. All right. So the only Rocketeers that we're missing, I think, yeah, are Ari and Balak and Rod.
Guy, wait for a second. Some reason I couldn't find the voting channel. Maybe it corrupts in. I opened for my mobile. Here we go. Oh, found it finally. Thank Lucas. I voted.
Cool. All right, so I think we've got everyone. Close the poll. Okay. So I think, well, so we have 6 out of 9, which puts us at 66%. I think that we need 70% in the Senate. Right. Well, we haven't updated Rocketeer. Oh, okay. So by the way, we should update the Rocketeer rules after
Yeah.
the end of the quarter. I think, I mean, yeah, we haven't updated any of the rules for the Rocketeers yet. I think Ryan should be up here as a Rocketeer, right? I'm not sure. I guess the newsletter project is over, but yeah. Yeah, technically, I don't think Rod is leading any more projects for next quarter, right? He's not here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I haven't seen Ari in a while. I think that
Technically, though, the 0G's not over yet. So.
yeah, 0G is still going. Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, updating roles. Rod's Rod is no longer leading a project, so we could update his Rocketeer role. That would allow us to reach quorum. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, we're gonna have to do it anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess, yeah, assuming that change, and I'll update that role now, then yeah, we can make quorum. So okay. All right. Well, then that's passed in the Senate. Sorry for the hiccup there. But yeah, I'll talk to Ari as well. Yeah, haven't seen him in a little while. All right. Yeah. Anything else with vMOONEY, or should we move on to the next proposal?
I think we can move on.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So the next thing is the MoonDAO Roadmap 1.0. So this has been something that yeah, we've been talking about for a while. It was put together by the Space Engineering Guild as part of the Space Engineering Charter. But yeah, I'll go through this one more time because there have been a few updates. But yeah, it would be good to get this officially passed through governance as like, hey, these are our objectives. It might be good also to yeah, put maybe some sort of disclaimer if like once we pass this through governance and you know, display this publicly to say, hey, these are like our objectives, but we're not like promising that it's going to turn out exactly how we say. This is just like our plans. Because yeah, we don't want in the future someone to go, oh well, I bought Mooney because it says in 2028 or 2030 that this is going to happen XYZ. And so yeah, I think it's important to like state like, okay, well, we have these like really big ambitions, but it's not like we're certain that this is exactly how things are going to play out and how things are going to happen. I mean, like, yeah, if we get to a party on the moon in 2030, I mean, I think that'd be amazing, but you know, there should be probabilities on things too, to some degree. Like we should say, hey, like this is what we're trying to achieve, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, I think something, yeah, light could be cool. Something like, hey, just a reminder that this is rocket science, and yeah, things can go wrong. So something like that.
I think you should say MoonDAO is a literal moonshot project.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, okay. So I think I've run through these a little bit. Yeah, there are a few kind of changes to some of the aspects in this roadmap. But yeah, one of the points here in 2023 kind of includes the D prize, which is creating an open innovation protocol for raising money towards roadmap initiatives, creating grants and prize bounties for teams, individual members to complete that prize. Yeah. Uh, this is still a pretty big main objective. The design build test, lunar communications. This was added as well. So basically so in 2022 and 2023, it kind of talks about how we're, developing structures around projects, governance, incentives, long-term coordination, etc. But yeah, we've been talking a lot about sort of like a web app to facilitate and make it easy for people to create projects and kind of automate a lot of the work, the incentives work, or the projects coordination, all of that. And that's sort of part of this objective here, which is sort of like a web application so that people can onboard into the community, join guilds, create projects, all of that in one place. Yeah. Another change too is there's kind of like a stepping stone in here of like purchasing a ticket into low Earth orbit and then the moon. And I mean, I think that's still interesting, but it would be a pretty major expense. And yeah, I'm not sure if it's if it's productive towards our mission necessarily. So I mean, I've taken that down and basically just focused on, you know, purchasing tickets to you know, go to the lunar surface when those are available. But yeah, I think, you know, part of this roadmap, we should be allowed to basically create proposals and change this as we go, similar to like what we're doing right now, and
Did
Yeah.
yeah.
sorry guys, I disconnected. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. But
Oh, really? Yeah, man, we really need a a sponsorship from Elon Musk. Everyone in the team have Starlinks everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's wait for a couple of more minutes. I'm still writing my updates, so if you haven't done it already, do this.
Yeah, I think we have Pablo back.
sorry,
Not
guys.
sure. Maybe it
Okay,
could
here
be
we
smart
go.
to turn off the video.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with video. By the way, it's just my VPN acting up. It always.
Oh, okay.
Um. Yeah, it's nice to see your guys' faces. Anyways, yeah. So I don't know where I lost you guys. You're muted, Michi.
The last thing I wrote down was web app.
Okay. uh. Okay. Well, yeah. Basically, yeah. The first few years really kind of culminates in the actual purchasing of seats on a lunar mission. But then the second half of the decade is really focused on actually building towards that settlement. So the design of each of those, there's a selection process, manufacturing, actually, yeah, sending those members up, constructing the minimum viable settlement, yeah, and then hosting our New Year's Eve party. um, but yeah, the actual shape that this will take is pretty open ended. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be the only ones going, so it'll probably depend a lot on what other people's plans are. So that's why partnerships and all of that are going to be really important. So yeah, I don't want to be a broken record. I think we've gone through this a lot, but yeah, it's good to finally get it through governance. Yeah, sorry, Michi.
No, I was just going to say the only thing we can really guarantee is that it won't look exactly like this in the end.
Yeah,
Something will change.
Yeah.
But it's still good to have a, something to focus on, for sure.
yeah, it's better to have a plan than no plan. So yeah. And yeah, I mean, like I said, just 1.0. any thoughts on this? Should we throw this in for a vote?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we have seen that before, so you can vote on that.
All right.
All right.
Read the vote right now. Okay. Looks like we have 3 people that have voted. We're at 4. Need 2 more. Yeah, I'm reading Ryan's message. Great, we have 6. So as part of the final reports, everyone should go through the checklist at the bottom, which includes updating the roles. So, yeah, before incentives are sent out, yeah, we'll make sure that each of those parts of the checklist are completed and that everything is wrapped up. Yeah, I think that's important, just to keep track of, basically making sure that all the roles are fresh and yeah, thanks Ryan for updating your role.
Ryan, did you give yourself the Voyager role?
I don't think Ryan's on stage, but yeah, I think he's still a moon settler anyways, so yeah, technically he's still in here, not a Voyager
So
yet.
you don't get. Oh yeah, I guess you don't get Voyager if you're still a moon settler.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Cool. So that passed as well. So we'll get it up on Snapshot. Yeah. Any more thoughts on this, or should we keep moving forward? Cool. All right. So last but not least is the executive branch proposal. So we've had some discussion already. Yeah, I think I mostly want to get more feedback on this because we have changed, especially how the sort of payments work, and that was kind of like a change just now before this meeting. So um, yeah, maybe I think it would be good to. So we've done this in the past where we discuss a proposal and then give a little bit of time to kind of update and then vote. Just because, yeah, I want to make sure that there's ample time to, you know, discuss the changes, and also, if people can think of better ways of doing things, then yeah, we should be open to those as well. Like I said, I think this executive branch proposal is I mean it's a big step for MoonDAO. I think it's a really important one, but we should, yeah, construct it in the right way. And yeah, not only that, but I think that um, so we're going to be voting on the Astronaut, and like I think that's going to be a really important milestone for MoonDAO to, um, implement, like basically work through that governance process of selecting someone. Um, but yeah, in I guess yeah, I want to share a little bit of a story that like reflects, I think, the challenge of like putting together these sorts of proposals. So um, yeah, in the early days of MoonDAO, like we decided, okay, well, we're not going to take any pre-mine of the token. We're going to let the community basically vote on the payment that goes to the contributors. And yeah, that ended up being a much more difficult problem to resolve than we thought. Um, Not only, you know, like there's just a lot of competing interests inside of the DAO, and a lot of the contributors at the time were very much in favor of, basically no investing, like high amounts of tokens being paid. And me, who I generally at least like to think of myself as a balanced and rational person. Um, I think that it's easy to get caught up in your own incentives too, and to turn a blind eye, even though I think that we're all like good people, when it's your own incentive to try to get as much as possible for yourself, then I think things can go really wrong. So I really am like leaning on you guys to help construct a proposal that is fair and can be not just fair now, but fair long term, for the astronauts and how they get compensated. So um yeah, I guess the part that's changed just like literally as of today is previously we had the astronaut compensation was just going to be a fixed percentage of the treasury. There are pros and cons of that approach. A major con is that yeah, basically the astronaut isn't necessarily incentivized to grow the treasury. I mean, if the treasury does grow, great, but if the treasury is diminished over time, they can kind of just sit on that 2%, and you know, it's that they basically get paid either way. So uh, today, there's some discussion after this is being posted where um, what if the idea is that the astronauts get paid on the income that goes into the DAO, which I think is probably a better incentive than just a fixed percentage of the treasury. But then the question also becomes, how do you measure the like income inside of the treasury? Would it just be the you know, like on the influx of tokens that go in, and the value of those tokens? Should it be the overall value of the treasury itself? Like, say, for example, if the value of ETH, goes up, or if the financial strategy of the DAO is sound, and sort of like the value of the treasury increases, should the astronauts be rewarded for that, or should it just be income? And then how do you measure those things? So like, for example, if the value of MoonDAO goes up, um, like should the astronauts be rewarded for that? Or um, yeah, like I think that there definitely is a devil in the details here. So it's important to I think through all of these things, and to yeah, figure out a policy that makes sense. So um, yeah, I can go, I guess, in particular to sort of like the salary that goes to the astronauts. So um, the way that we were thinking about this is basically we want an MVP for the salaries so that they can pay rent, eat food, generally, live a decent life where they're not like sacrificing at the expense of like opportunity cost elsewhere. So they know that, hey, at the very least, that they will be stable if they are committing themselves full time to MoonDAO. Um, and I think that we want that in our astronauts, and we want to make sure that, hey, uh, that we we know that these are high value people, and we should be paying them, you know, a living wage. And again, even in determining the living wage, it can be difficult. I live in San Francisco. It's a pretty expensive city. A living wage for someone in a different part of the world might be different. But yeah, I put in 8K a month. I think that's like fair. It's definitely on the low end for what yeah, so someone with my skill set would be making generally. But that being said, there are other rewards in here too, like growing the treasury, and also the astronauts could receive vMOONEY too. So it's like I think that as a baseline, it's definitely enough to make sure that I'm not like taking out of my savings in order to like be here. But yeah, so I'm I'll keep moving forward because there's more to this. So then there's a reward that is computed as a percentage of treasury growth, and the treasury growth is measured as basically the differential quarter by quarter in the size of the treasury, where the size of the treasury is measured as kind of like the daily average. So every day, at a certain time point, we just measure what is the value of the treasury, take the average, and that gives us an idea of how much the treasury is worth in one quarter versus another quarter. And then based on the difference, if it's positive, then some amount of that goes to the astronauts. Yeah, so it's definitely I think it's a better system than doing it just based on a percentage of the overall treasury. But yeah, if we're doing it this way, since the inception of MoonDAO, the treasury has been decreasing quarter by quarter. Um, yeah, like at at one point, MoonDAO's treasury was over 100 million, which is wild. At the peak of MoonEY, the price of MoonEY, and since then it's been kind of steadily decreasing. So I think it's good that we're looking at this and that we're incentivizing the leaders inside of the DAO to basically do something about this. But yeah, as it stands right now, I don't have any like I I imagine that trend will continue at least for another couple of quarters, until like a lot of the seeds that we're planting today, like for example with the marketplace, um, we we have some good ideas about how we can monetize stuff with the MoonDAO app, with the newsletter, the Twitter, etc., and monetize all of these things as we've been growing. But we probably won't be seeing a lot of those changes. Probably until those seeds actually have time to grow. But yeah, I think it's definitely a motivator, and will I think hopefully result in the astronauts paying a lot more attention in terms of like our bottom line and making sure that MoonDAO survives and exists going forward. Um, yeah, and then the last part of this is that astronauts are still eligible to receive project rewards, but their MVPs will be subtracted just like everyone else's. So if they're you know uh, if their MVPs are above what they're being paid, then that gets calculated in. But the way that we do MVP reward calculations is we do it on like a non-MoonEY assets versus MoonEY assets. So yeah, I'm guessing for part C there will be like vMOONEY there. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to explain that all in detail, make sure everyone understands how this is working, and not necessarily vote on it right now, but just kind of get input on whether you guys think this is a fair system, what you might change. like Lucas has brought up, for example, like, okay, what if Ethereum just has like a massive bull run, and should the astronaut be rewarded for just kind of like being part of a massive bull run on ETH? It's a good question. I mean, I think, for example, like setting things up in this way does mean that the astronaut needs to think about the overall sort of risk profile of the treasury, and diversifying, but still making sure that we're seeing upside in general. um yeah. Another part of this too is, should the astronauts be penalized if the treasury decreases, or should it have just no impact if it decreases? So yeah, I mean, I'm throwing a lot of questions out your guys' way, but like I said, yeah, really relying on you guys to come up with a policy that feels fair. Because, like I mentioned, it's hard. It's hard for me to step out of my own incentives. As much as I actively do try to do this to some extent. I think it'd be different if someone else were, like, and I'm not saying that I'm going to be selected as the astronaut necessarily, but if someone else were in my role, I do wonder, what would my sort of criticisms of the system be? And so, yeah, I hope that you guys can play that role.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, mainly my input is thinking that it's abstracting the fact that you are, acting as Rocketeer now, Pablo, and thinking in a more broad way, So let's say, hey, if someone else gets this role, would this framework be fair in general? I'm not trying to overcomplicate things, but trying to, protect the DAO. I don't know. I feel that based on the previous coordinates and on the average incentive that each one of us gets home, 8K for MVP is a lot. Having having a percentage on top of that. So yeah, if that's the figure, I think we should play it with a really low percentage, or diminish the MVP and increase the percentage of the growth or the revenue or whatever. I don't know. I'm thinking on something like 1 to 3% of the revenue that comes in, because it's kind of a rule of thumb in sales. You get paid 1 to 3% on direct sales, and then if you reach certain levels, you can go up to 5%, and 10% more. It's more aligned with fundraising and yeah, stuff like that. In general, for companies or teams. Yeah, I don't know. I know that the cost of living is different in different countries, but I feel that if we set up the bar too high for the Rocketeer, it can also undervalue, other talents and other people that could be making a lot more money, outside of MoonDAO, and are, committing to MoonDAO to get underpaid for a while, but to grow this mission. So maybe also, yeah, something to have in mind is that we can't compare salaries with big organizations. We need to compare salaries with startups that are kind of in the same, roadmap as we are, with basically no revenue, or a really low revenue, and a really high burn rate, and and yeah, $1 million on the treasury, or on the bank, basically. So yeah, just something so we can all meditate in. When I proposed this kind of more creative approach to the compensation was thinking on, hey, what if someone that's not really that much engaged in MoonDAO but have a great political power within the community wins this election instead of Pablo? Would this compensation be fair? How we could protect ourselves, from this kind of exploit that is pretty common in DAOs. So yeah, I don't know. Not sure what you also think about this. If this is a real risk, or I'm too much worried for nothing.
Yeah. I think that the 10% can definitely be reduced. I mean, I was thinking because our revenues are so small at the moment that 10% is like very, very tiny compared to, like, and also that we don't have any growth at all. And, it's almost like I feel like it almost doesn't even matter how much of a percent is in there because it's probably going to continue to be negative. Like it's going to be a lot of work to get that to be positive, which I'm up to do. But yeah, I'd be down to reduce. I mean, yeah, like 5%, or so you're saying 3%. Yeah, I think we should kind of try to meditate a bit on what we think is a fair percentage. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it's hard to really come up with the numbers. The 8K a month, I mean, yeah, yeah, like that is I mean, I'd say that's like just barely like I know that sounds kind of crazy, but in San Francisco, at 8K a month, you're like you should probably not be living in the city. Like you should probably not be living in San Francisco, to be completely honest. So, um, yeah, like I can definitely make things work for that amount. I'm also wondering, like, yeah, like, yeah, I I I I can definitely make it work for 8K. If it's less than that, like, it's gonna be like tight, but can yeah. I mean, I think that in general, the yeah the bar of people that we want to have in these roles, yeah, we want to make sure that they can, you know they can justify it for sure, with other opportunity costs that they have. So yeah, I I think, yeah, we should probably, yeah, just like take a couple days and think through each of the numbers. Yeah, so the MVP for the astronauts at 8K, and then um I think we should also go through like these figures here, which is like for a full-time operations lead. So this would be, yeah, basically like um a very, very, very important role to support all of the sort of core functionality and things that happen inside of MoonDAO. A legal lead, like was mentioned before, to, there's so many contract negotiations and different complexities that goes on, where we've kind of consistently needed legal support. And so having someone that is more focused on MoonDAO, in even just like a part-time way, or has some amount of, just like, amount that we pay them on retainer a month, would be very helpful. And then a socials lead is in there as well. um yeah, uh ad hoc, and then the astronaut MVP. This ends up being 21K a month, which, yeah, all things considered, is not that much in terms of like operating something of the scale that we're operating right now. So yeah. Yeah. There are a few other things that were updated in here too. Like specificity about sort of the like how we're electing astronauts. Ryan had a good comment in here. Basically, every 8 months, we can add a new astronaut so that they're staggered in.
Okay, finally Michi moved, and I figured out that we all lost Pablo. We were just so still that I was thrown out.
Had
Constitution, but I think it's
there he is.
completely in here. Oh, sorry.
We lost you, Pablo.
I can hear you guys. Shoot.
No, we can hear you now, but we lost you for a bit.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Like about probably 30 seconds or something.
Did you guys hear about the staggering at 8-month intervals with the
Yes.
astronauts? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and this proposal will only last 6 months too. I mean, it could be worthwhile since we're doing astronaut revotes at 8-month cycles to extend this to be 8 months instead of 6 months. Otherwise, we might have a case where we're like, I guess, revoting on a lot of the astronaut stuff. Maybe it makes sense to kind of bundle it all together. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the idea of this proposal ending, yeah, before the final term, because what tend to occur is basically the astronaut would not be, acting as astronaut anymore when this ends, and yeah, we're gonna basically fall in the same problem of having to discuss this, without the astronauts and having kind of a period without those roles being paid. So yeah, I think it's interesting to kind of let this sit for 6 months, and then in 3 months time we can just sit down and write a new proposal for the rest of the term, and yeah, get this going before the new election.
Wait. Oh,
What do you guys think?
I think I misunderstood. So you're in favor of keeping it at 6 months and then having
Yeah.
2 months in between when we're revoting.
I was actually thinking that we should revote this before the end of the proposal itself. So,
but then we have the sort of like 2 months where we basically are kind of in a limbo state, right?
I mean, if we vote this on the second quarter before this first one ends, then we don't have the limbo. But yeah, I just think that if we bundle up with the election, it kind of can be really delayed, and have the overall commitment get this going. But I can be wrong. I don't know. Kind of kind of feeling the vibes of how long this one took, for us to get this voted.
Well, I guess I think the fact that the proposal took a while to put together should mean that we like something in general, I feel like at MoonDAO is like we spend a lot of time. I mean, it's important work, but like discussing the proposals. And so I
Yeah.
think that the like if we have like this is starting on July 1st here, and then we don't have you know we pass this through, say, governance this week, and then we hold an election. That'll probably be another week. um we're already at August, and uh then yeah,
Yeah.
before the 6 months end, so then there'd probably be another month long process of like revoting on a new. I don't know. I personally feel like it makes more sense to sync the two on like a 8 month cycle, so that
Mhm.
at the end of the cycle, over those 8 months, then we reevaluate. We say, okay, what worked, what didn't work, and we're adding a second astronaut in, and we reconstruct sort of like the budget for these sort of operations. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
wait,
like it kind of does make sense to have it on that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Wait, are we keeping the term of the astronaut with the same length and just adding a second one in 8 months? That's it.
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
the idea
Yeah,
is that
that makes more sense. Okay.
yeah, the idea is that every 8 months we are adding a new astronaut in, so that
Yeah, okay.
astronauts serve a 2 year long period. So I see Ryan has his hand up as well. So yeah, the astronauts serve a 2 year long period. So every 8 months, if we were to stagger those 24 months and divide them equally, then we could elect a new astronaut, such that at any given moment we always have 3 astronauts, but they're kind of being rotated. Um, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It
Yeah.
makes sense. I really like, yearly budgets or budgets that really fall within a year, because it's easier for people to understand and to read on. But yeah, I get the idea. It's good.
Okay. Cool. Well, I guess yeah. In that case, I'll adjust this to extend out um, until the end of that 8 month period. Um, but yeah, any other thoughts on sort of like how we're structuring compensation, and yeah, just like kind of high level thoughts on this sort of proposal too. Um, Ryan, I saw that you had some comments in here too. Kind of want to get your thoughts as well. Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the sort of like this sort of three-pronged thing with like MVP and then rewards based on the income inside of the DAO, and then also through the retroactive rewards and project system could work. Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people inside of the parts of the community would be happy about the idea of rewards based off of treasury growth. Um, but yeah, I think if we're doing it based off of treasury growth, then part of the astronauts' responsibilities will also be kind of like looking after the health of the token liquidity and stuff like that. Which I think you guys know my position on that, where it should definitely not be a main focus, but yeah, uh, it shouldn't be absolutely neglected either. Like, yeah, it's one of those tough things, of like just being inside of crypto in general. Yeah. Like for example, MEXC is so yeah, it's like we want to be accessible to everyday people, and definitely the easiest way to do that is to be listed on exchanges so that people can access the token. Most people don't know how to navigate, say, like MetaMask and setting up, going through Uniswap and all of that. But yeah, our route towards that, which has been sort of like listing on these like minor exchanges, which then builds up credibility to be eventually listed on bigger exchanges. The minor exchanges now we just got a message from MEXC, and yeah, we should also figure out what we want to do about this. They're saying that the token trading volume is too low, and that we might be delisted as a result, which would be a massive hit because we paid them a solid amount of money in order to be listed. So we should definitely make sure that we're not delisted, but what they're basically asking is that they want more market making on the token and more volume, so that because that's how they make their fees. They make money off of sort of the volume of the token. Yeah, they want to see basically more people trading and buying and selling Mooney. But yeah, I know that's not necessarily related to the executive branch proposal, but I actually I do want to get your guys' thoughts on that, because I think it's they've put us in basically a like 30-day like I don't know what they call it, but basically like trial period, where like if the token liquidity and trading volume, etc., doesn't improve in those 30 days, then we'll be delisted. So um yeah, uh if we do want to improve it, we may have to like make a proposal in order to increase sort of like um the amount that we're putting into MEXC to meet those like minimum requirements on the volume, etc. So yeah, curious what you guys think.
I think I already told this to a few CN members, but market making is tough. It's a really expensive thing, and it kind of never ends. You always need more money to put in there to keep the ball rolling. And I'm also a consultant on TradFi, and most of the companies that I work, there is trying to be listed or thinking about being listed. In general, I believe that the listing process and the market making process and being publicly traded and being accessible mostly for the overall public should be more a consequence of the success, and of the demand for that, stock or for that token or for that governance or for that whatever, for that sense of community, then paid movements of, hey, we are trying to be listed there and there, and we will keep going with these volumes until we can target a Binance or something like that. Because the truth is, to target Binance, we need really, really a lot of money, not only to be listed in a bunch of smaller exchanges, but to keep the market going and to attract those eyes to us. And it's just a lot cheaper and much more effective to build projects that give Mooney utility and to build projects that make people want to have Mooney. Yeah, that's my position. I don't really think that it's a huge loss. Mostly the results with those two exchanges were people shorting Mooney and basically a lot. And I'm really not sure if it makes sense to reposition it there, but I do understand, the worry of, hey, if you're delisted, this become a kind of a bad thing in our resume, and it can be really, really hard to get into bigger exchanges. So I don't know. I think that now that we are already engaged there, we should try at all costs to maintain their status, but with the the lowest amount possible. I really don't see the way out. Unless we have a brilliant idea of, hey, let's just build a promotion or give some kind of benefit for people that buy Mooney at that exchange or trade Mooney at that exchange. But I don't think it's a healthy promotion for the MoonDAO as a community. It will just bring short-term speculators.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I was also like, yeah, like the contract that we signed with MEXC, more or less, like they have a clause in there that says, like, if you don't meet the requirements of the company, that they can delist you at any moment. But then they don't actually list what the requirements of the company are. And then when I asked them, like, what can you list all of these requirements, they sent over basically a website that they update. So it's kind of like a ridiculous system because they can add whatever and they have the full liberty of adding requirements at any point and say, oh, you must do this, you must do this, you must do this. They basically have just like a super long list of requirements that I think basically gives them the freedom to pressure any token that they want to see with higher liquidity into, like, putting more money into their exchange, which is, it's kind of it's kind of scammy, to be honest. Yeah. I'd say that negative impact even. Yeah, I mean, I also dislike the centralized exchanges. I think that we don't need them. But I understand the argument that people were trying to make at the time, which is like, oh well, you know, if we're on these exchanges, then it sort of increases sort of the ease that people can like join the community. But I don't even think that's true. It's becoming less and less true every day, where like the actual sort of like um yeah, decentralized network and the way that people interact with crypto is, you know, not through centralized exchanges. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely of the same mindset. But yeah, the amount of pressure from kind of like the broader you know, more trader side of the community. I think the vote for whether or not MoonDAO should uh you know, do token listings. I think it was the vote that I think it might have had the most votes ever inside of our community. It had like 900 votes, which probably some of those were bots too. But yeah, it's hard to be like a DAO that uh yeah, we're you know, the majority of the community wants to do thing A, even though thing A is, you know, I think it maybe it's dumb. And I think a lot of the people here think it's, you know, not you know, the best way to grow our community. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of like the one of the hardest things about the space that we're operating in, is that it pushes you in certain directions that like clearly are not the right decisions for us. But it just, because of just the culture and the way that people view this, and the people that, you know, just yeah, you just at some point yeah, we're kind of surfing, you know, and the wave is pushes us one way, and we can try to fight it a little bit, but we can't escape it entirely. So yeah. Did I lose you guys?
And we're still here.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to echo the same sentiment as everyone else. I think that generally, like, I'm not a big fan of it. Feels a lot like with these exchanges, it's like trying to make the tail wag the dog. And you know, like Lucas is saying, we should just be making the dog happy, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we could risk the sort of delisting. There is kind of like a worry that that could have a bit of a, you know, cascading effect over to other like if we lose the trading volume there, then other, yeah, the other centralized exchanges where we're listed, they might delist us as well, and then we just have the one. I mean, Uniswap works, it's fine. But there there definitely is, I think, that sort of a risk there. And what Lucas was saying is sort of like uh yeah, it might look bad when we're maybe in the future trying to list on, you know, one of these bigger exchanges. Yeah.
Even forgetting about the listing and just focusing more on partners. Yeah, a lot of people that I talk about, and I know that this is true for Manuel as well. They basically ask us about token price, and they ask us about volume, and they ask us about a bunch of different questions to make sure that they are doing their due diligence and that we are legit. And yeah, the listings can be kind of a red flag for a lot of partners. So yeah, there's this kind of image cost there. It's pretty high unless we come up with a really compelling story on you know how to sell this as, you know, we're being kind of exploited by the decentralized exchanges or something like that. It's and go to war with sex in general. It would be really difficult, you know, to close bigger deals with serious people. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, things are changing every day. We never know what will really happen, but it's a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
also
guess.
want to show something. Okay, sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, yeah, Lucas, you're totally right. If we have a chat with, people from the Web3 space, who are interested in our project, it's always like first thing, okay, have a look on the token and token price and stuff. But you know what? We can do both. We do not even need to decide if it's like right or not. We can try it out. Look, we had the learnings from the past that, if we take it like the wrong exchanges, it might actually hurt our reputation overall and attract like the wrong investors into our community. But again, we can kind of separate like the crypto community that we have within our community, that is funding the cause, with like the people who are actually doing the work and need to have like also experience from the space industry to move things forward into a certain direction. And I was actually, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. It was buggy for a second. Yeah, but exactly for this topic, I was actually talking with some people who work on kind of like on stuff like that. I mean, I will have a call with them like next week or so. And what I was thinking about is just like aligning people who have experience in kickstarting a token again, in market making, and also when it comes to listing and increasing like the trading volume overall, so we can test it out like again, and then with the concrete goal of getting MoonDAO in Binance with the needed compliance and due diligence in the back for sure. Because again, I think like the due diligence right now for our own token and to finally achieve like a legal status are like two of the most biggest of the biggest barriers that we see when it comes to building partners, either to traditional industries or to the people who work in crypto and crypto institutions. So yeah, let's get it right. But again, I think we have some options. We just need to align the people and get them on board, and then think about like concrete steps that how we can take action. And I'm also thinking about maybe doing like risk reports where we can think about different scenarios and then think about how we can break it down, um, to so that we have like emergency plans in case, if this, for example, happens again, something like that. But yeah, I will let you know if I know more. I will have a chat with Nemo, is his name, tomorrow. So yeah, but let's definitely talk about market making and building a task force for all these things,
Yeah.
because it's also important, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I also wanted to talk about the specific requirements. So what they were asking from us. So they said they have basically three requirements. One is that the number of holders needs to be over 100 holders, which we met that requirement. The daily trading volume needs to average at over 50K, which we float around like 40 to 45K. So that's actually not too big of a lift. And then the total dollar value of all of the accounts needs to be over 50K, which they said that we were around 31K at the moment. So I think that we could meet the requirements. We'd probably just need to either pass a proposal. I mean, honestly, I think that if we told some of the people inside of the community, hey, we need to meet these sort of requirements, they might just move money that they already have from one exchange to another one just to like help us. So yeah, maybe that's just the easiest way to do it, but I'm talking to them now. So yeah, in summary, though, yeah, we would need to increase the market making on the token just slightly, from that like 40 to 45K to 50K, and then we would need to yeah, basically increase the number of accounts in there as well. So I don't know. It's something worth thinking about. I don't know if like it's whatever the DAO wants, I guess. Like I'm not a fan of the centralized exchanges, but we've already kind of started to take this path where the community really wanted us to list the token, and so now, yeah, maybe I think if we can maintain those sort of metrics, I think we'd be fine. And I think that we were way above those metrics anyways. It's just that since the token price has gone down, the sort of like market making value or the total volume is lower just as a result of the token price being lower, and then the amount in the accounts is lower as well. It's not that we've changed anything with the sort of like the token or the engagement of the token. It's just that since the price is lower, those metrics fall under their threshold. So yeah. But yeah.
Hi, Paulo.
Mhm.
Can you hear me? So I have a question. Not sure if I missed that one. So about the incentive for the astronaut based on the treasury growth. So it will be paid in, let's say, MoonEY or non-MoonEY assets.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Because I haven't seen it in the proposal.
Yeah, it's a good question. So yeah, I think it should be paid in, and yeah, the way that this is said, I think it needs to be clear, but basically paid in proportion to the token that has grown, if that makes sense. So like if it's DAI that has grown, then it would be some amount of DAI. And the reason, and if it's, say ETH that has grown, then it would be ETH. If it's MoonEY that has grown, then it'd be MoonEY. And the reason that I say that it should be proportional to the token is because you can imagine a scenario where say, for example, MoonEY's price goes up a lot, and these rewards are being paid out all in DAI, then it could be that we start spending all of the DAI inside of the treasury, which we could sell the MoonEY directly in the treasury to like replenish stuff, but yeah, basically the like doing it where the payouts are proportional to the token avoids that sort of situation. I don't know if that's clear to you guys, but yeah, I can include that in the proposal a bit better. Yeah. Yeah. Well, here I guess here's a question though too is like should one of the responsibilities of the astronaut be to ensure the like say like the risk profile of the portfolio of the treasury, so like should they be, I mean, like my own thoughts on the treasury is to just keep it simple and not do crazy DeFi leveraged whatever, but to some extent there are things that we could be doing with the treasury that are straightforward, say like staking some amount of ETH, or just kind of like optimizing the structure of our treasury, where it might make sense to incentivize people to do that sort of like treasury management and like optimization. So like I mean, I think it could make sense to set things up so that if the overall value of the treasury increases, which is a benefit to the entire DAO, and be that an ETH or say some other token that we decide to diversify into, um, then I think that is a good. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of like an open question. Like if do we want to incentivize on kind of like holistic treasury health, or do we want to like drill down into like, okay, Mooney specifically, or stable coins specifically? But and I could also see a world where, all right, say the astronauts are their rewards are based off of how many stable coins we have. So then they just move everything into stable coins, or they find other kind of ways to like work around these sort of I don't know, constraints. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about stablecoins in general, and a stablecoin metric for DAOs is we're not really based in any country, right? So crypto is kind of a way of going against those structures and against the uncontrollable inflation and stuff like that. So it kind of go have an incentive that is towards the I don't know. It's just feels odd to me, that we do our math based on US dollars instead of ETH, or instead of anything really, instead of real crypto assets, since we are a crypto project by the end of the day. Even though I understand that, hey, we pay our bills in stables, but yeah. Anyway, for me, the most interesting approach would be, hey, let's just give this bonus based on the inflow of capital. And by inflow, we can talk about the market cap of the token, and how many dollars are going into buying the token. We can talk about how many dollars are going into the treasury, or how many ETH, or how many wherever. And just keep a percentage on that, because I feel that treasury management is a whole other function. And of course, we can have one astronaut that is responsible for that, and it's a really, really specialized person on treasury management, or hedge funds, or whatever. But this should not be the rule for all the astronauts. I mean, this is also a little bit of my own vision for MoonDAO. I see a future in MoonDAO where astronauts would have, complementary skills. We will have one astronaut that is more, of a space engineer, another one that it's more a finance guy, another one that it's more like an operations guy, and they would have this common vision that is shared among the whole DAO, and execute that in the best way possible. So on that track, I also think that we should keep these kinds of performance compensation a little bit flexible, because each specialty and each individual will have a different impact among the DAO. one person that's more specialized in market making and finance would have a bigger impact in the token price, and another one that's an engineer would have a bigger impact on basically building stuff, or closing partnerships and things like that. So I don't know, I have mixed feelings.
Yeah, I think yeah, it could be interesting to maybe structure it just as like inflows into the treasury, plus like maybe like some metric having to do with the health of the token generally. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I do think treasury management is a really important function. I just don't know. I do worry sometimes that we don't pay enough attention to that. And yeah. So yeah, we have been talking about putting something in the constitution around emergency procedures. Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, I don't think it was blown out of proportion. I think that the Fed responded by basically issuing the most extreme, like, hey, we're going to insure, billions and billions of dollars in all of these accounts, and yeah, I mean, I still think that we haven't seen the full implications of all of that. But I don't want to get off off topic. And there was, I mean, there was I believe that there was an effort to especially implode and lock out crypto organizations that base a lot of their workings on the functioning of these stable coins that have big accounts at a lot of these exact banks that face these sort of implosions. But that's a whole rabbit hole. Whether or not it was on purpose or if it's a conspiracy there, who knows. But yeah, I think you're right that it shouldn't just be one person that manages the treasury, but it's sort of kind of a tragedy of the commons a little bit, where yeah, like for example, we've been talking about doing this diversification proposal, and then it was rejected, and then like we still need to do that, but we're all kind of busy on other stuff, so it gets a little bit neglected. So I don't know. I think yeah, we should meditate on it a little bit more. But yeah.
I have another, not really a question, but maybe a scenario that we may need to consider. So just in case, let's imagine if the treasury go up in total, however, it go down in some certain asset, let's say USD and ETH, but the MoonDAO price go up, and then are we still going to reward? And another scenario is the total like treasury go down. However, some certain asset, let's say USD, go up. So are we still give the reward based on the treasury goal? So it's something we need to consider and make it clear to avoid any like argument, unnecessary argument in the future. You on mute.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was thinking, like, looking at it holistically and then just computing the entire treasury value based on US dollar. And like Lucas was saying, you know, the choice of US dollar, I mean, we are a crypto organization, but it still is the dominant currency around the world by far. So I think it makes sense to look at it and measure in US dollar, even if it is an imperfect measurement. But yeah, I'd basically be looking at all of the assets inside of the treasury measured in US dollars. And then, you know, if one of them goes down a lot, but another one goes up, and then in total, you know, it's about even, then there's no impact. It's just the overall treasury value, and whether or not that, you know, has gone up or not. Yeah. So well, the way that it's written here is so it, yeah, we would take the, like, basically sample it every day, and then construct an average for the entire quarter by sampling. So we'd sample the price of each of the assets inside of the treasury um, in order to compute the average. So yeah, there are other methods of computing, um, you know, the average of something that's being traded. Like, you can also add in the volume, so you can see every single trade and the volume of each of those trades. I don't know. I didn't want to get too complicated about it, so just looking at the value of it every day seemed like doable. But yeah. Yeah. Well, this is, yeah. Well, the I guess that's the idea behind, like, sampling it over the course of an entire quarter, so that if even if something does pump for a few days, or say 30 days, and then comes back down, then it would kind of get averaged out, I guess. But yeah, I agree that, yeah, um, it is like, yeah, I guess what would be, so you suggested maybe the minimum price that quarter or something like that? I'm curious what you have in mind. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Another a metric that DeFi protocols use a lot is total value locked, and that could be an interesting metric to look at, which is basically like how much of the Mooney is being staked, and what is
Yeah.
the value of that Mooney. Um, and changes, maybe tracking changes in that could be a way of assessing the health here. Just another thought, I guess. So that way, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's pumping a bunch, you know, but it's not being locked, then yeah, it's not there'd be no, I don't know. It's it's interesting, I guess. We would also have I mean, yeah, I don't want to get overly complex, but we could do some like hybrid approach where it's the amount of like inflows into the treasury is rewarded at some percent, and then the amount of treasury growth is rewarded at a lower percent, but it's still in there, so that yeah, basically we're tracking both of them, and people are incentivized to make sure that hey, these are healthy and doing well. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, or doing it based off of token, like, yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of ways to skin a cat on this. But yeah, doing something based off of token price over time that does like a lagging average to avoid sort of those like pumping um things that Ryan was mentioning. I don't know. Yeah, either way, I think we should meditate on this for a couple days, and then see if we kind of land on an idea that makes sense for everyone, and then go from there. But yeah. All right, I guess yeah, we can move on, because I think we can it's yeah, there's just a lot of things to discuss about all of that. So yeah, maybe we should just move on to open floor. Luffy says he needs to drop off.
Yeah, guys. I mean, I just have like two things. I mean, I'm right now in talks for the space research working group that we are pushing forward. We need reviews there. Same goes with the decentralized journal that we're working on with DeSci Labs. So this is important. And yeah, then, if you know some great scientists who also want to get involved, making peer reviews, going into detail when it comes to paper pools that are aligned with our tech roadmap, let them know. And then I think, yeah, if we receive feedback and then can work on this, we can also move forward with these two proposals. Yeah, because in the best case, we can also find like leaders from external organizations who join MoonDAO as new members. So I really want to see like other space DAO leaders, for example, stepping up and doing projects with us, so that we, in general, also advocate for a good ecosystem sentiment. But this is everything that's going through my head, beside like MoonDAO B2B and the legal status. But yeah, so please give it a review. I will also share it in the co-working chat again. But I think if we have a look on the ideation, you can also find like the proposals. So yeah, that's it from my side. But yeah, again, we do not need to discuss like right now. It's also like 4 a.m. for me, so I will also drop off in a couple of minutes, guys.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I have something that I need to bring up. And I'll do kind of a disclaimer. I'm not trying to call anyone out. I love you all, guys. But we still have a lot of final reports that are incomplete, that don't have the the treasury transparency part filled in. We kind of let that one slip out, and it's really bad when we do coordinates after the quarterly distributions, because
Well,
it
wait,
kind of
Lucas, I want to be clear that when like before we send out all of the funds for the projects, they need to actually complete that checklist, which includes returning money into the treasury and putting in that sort of like report for treasury transparency and all of that. So yeah, like that all needs to be in there. Otherwise, the project will not be receiving rewards. And I want to be clear about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, it's just we really need to do a better job, filling reports and in a timely manner. And I don't know. I want to propose some sort of reinforcement for next quarter. And if it can sound kind of dumb sometimes, I think it's pretty effective. Or some sort of fine for projects that don't deliver the report in time, or that don't fill out all the requirements, or really something that could make us more engaged with the deadlines, and with the what we're showing to the broader community, because it's just very hard to talk with the broader community when we are not delivering the means for them to analyze the work that we're doing here. And I'm kind of doing the I'm kind of playing the devil's advocate here, but it's really important. And I personally try to take a long time my report, and I really felt bad seeing that other worketeers did not took the same dedication there. So let's try to get better, please. Anyway, what do you guys think about other ways of reinforcement?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad that you brought this up. I think that, not receiving the project rewards until all like yeah, I think that having better maybe validation and like a submission process. I know Michi worked on a submission form. I think that would be good. Um, yeah, I guess one of the core issues sometimes is that with coordinates, if the person doesn't like fill it out, it's not like yeah, maybe we could implement like a penalty if they don't fill out their coordinates on time, because I think that is something that definitely slows down the process the most. Um, Another thing that we've been discussing, Michi and I, is uh, like I think it's a hard requirement to ask each project to like set up all of their coordinates individually. So having maybe like one person that's just responsible for setting them up for everyone and just putting it in like a nice, neat, organized way would be nice. Um, I think we just started the new system with like the delegates and everything, and I think that there are some penalties there for the delegates that don't like do certain things. So basically, assigning someone inside of the project to say like, hey, it's your job to make sure that this final project has every single thing in here, like is correct. And so, yeah, and there I forget what the like we have a pretty. I mean, it wasn't uh like crazy penalties, but they are in here. So like for example, I think Rocketeers that don't come to meetings, I think that there's a penalty in their rewards. Yeah, I need to find the specific section, and then I think the delegates can also get hit if yeah, things aren't put together properly. But yeah,
Yeah, I know the delegate gets hit if if you bring up a project that's not filled up, but I don't remember anything about the final report. Or I know the delegate is responsible for making sure everything is running and the way it should, kind of acting as an arbitrator or something like that. But we could be clearer on that. You know.
can you guys hear me? Is this working?
Yeah, now it's working.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know if did I cut out? Can you guys were you guys able to hear that?
Oh, you cut it out.
Oh shoot. Okay. I'm sorry guys. Yeah, I was just saying that that we have a couple penalties in here. Oh yeah, here's one. So like yeah, Senate members that fail to, come to the meetings, there's a deduction in retroactive rewards. Yeah. But I'm open to adding some other things to make sure that people are held accountable. Yeah. And yeah, now the delegates are responsible for creating the final report and just making sure that everything's on there. But yeah, it's definitely yeah, it can be a little exhausting to get on people's butts sometimes to make sure everything's filled in and that all this stuff's in there. But I think also like our system is just a little bit disorganized, and yeah, the more that we can just make things a little bit more straightforward with like project submissions, maybe even like a little UI or something so that people can fill these out and know where to find them. Like I know, I mean, like me personally, I'm kind of like drowning in a bunch of different documents everywhere, and yeah, so can be tough. Yeah.
I think at the bare minimum, next quarter we should at least have a form with a deadline on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed. But yeah, definitely open to yeah, Lucas, I'm not sure exactly what you have in mind for sort of like penalties for like late submissions or um yeah, stuff like that. I think yeah, could be good. Did I lose you guys again?
I don't think so. we're just quiet.
Quiet. All right. Cool. Well,
I think everyone's tired. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Anything else that people want to bring up before we close up? Cool. All right. Well, then yeah, I think we can get back to it. All right. Thanks everyone.
Good one, guys.
All right, bye.
Guys, bye.